Hi crafty friend, it's Justine. It's release day for Spellbinders, August 1st, and today I'm going to show you my take on the stitch die of the month, which is called the Stitched Floral Card Front. So it is a full card and it's a card front. You can see here's the back of the main die. There are several little holes. Today I'm choosing to leave those holes as they are. If you wanted, you could do some detail stitching on those, but I am going to leave those be. I'm just going to give this a quick trim because I notice I have a little bit of my background paper showing through the top part here. So I'm just going to trim it. You'll notice that the flowers are a little bit different than normal. So here's a look at the die for this flower. Before you stitch on it, it looks just like this. Typically, the flowers that are stitched have a center hole and then surrounding outside holes. This die does not. It just has the center one, and then you are meant to put the string in between the notches of the flower petals to hold your string, and you'll end up with something that looks like this. I of course added a little embellishment on top. I will show you how I turned this into this. So to start, I have my paper all die cut and I have this little piece, and I'm going just to take a little bit of some double-sided tape that I have left over from a card kit. Now I noticed on the inspiration sheet that comes with this stitching die, they said a little tip could be die cutting this paper flower out with double-sided adhesive paper. So I will put a link in the description to where I got mine, but you could also just use double-sided tape like this. And that's basically just going to hold my string in place. You could also use liquid glue. It's just kind of up to you. But for this very, very small flowers, even on these flowers, you're supposed to go through the center and use the flower petals as the notch for stitching. You'll notice here on the small ones, I simply put an embellishment on there and I did not stitch those. And then on the leaf ones, I did some stitching with metallic thread. And then on the medium flowers, I used just a regular floss with some glitter paper. Whenever I stitch, I use 3 strands unless I'm using the metallic thread, because that comes with 2 strands already prepped. Isn't this needle holder adorable? I just received this last month and I've just really been loving it. It's giving me like Viking vibes and I like it. Alright, with my needle, I just simply thread it. If it's giving me trouble, I will use my needle threader. I have kind of like a cheapo one here that's on my desk, but when I am stitching for fun, just having a good time, I use my DMC one. Well, to start stitching, my thread is on the back of my flower. I'm going to still go with the typical motion that I would for a stitched flower, which is I usually come up the outside and down the center hole, just because I find it's easier to push down the center hole when I'm near the end than it is to push up the center hole. So I'm going to take my thread and just nest it in between those 2 petals and then put my needle right through the center and pull through. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way around the flower. Kind of hold it, put my needle through, and it just kind of makes this little stitched flower kind of come to life. The larger flower like this one is definitely easier than the smaller ones, but it still gives a really fun look, just like the small ones. I really like this stitching die because I feel like I can use some of these flower pieces on other projects, and the high that goes in the center could also be used on other projects, which is really exciting to me because I like to mix and match, especially with my stitching dies. and just see what I can use in my own stash and just try other things out. After I'm done with this purple card, I will show you one other card that I made with the high. It's a stitching card, but I used just the high from this club. I'm about halfway through and things are looking just fine. Just making my way around the flower. Sometimes I pull a little too hard so it flies out of my hand, but we're doing fine. There's my last stitch. Just like that. And then to hide my tail, look at the back. It looks pretty good this time. I'm just going to do 2 back stitches on the back just to hide any of the tail. And then I'll just do a quick snip like that. Now my flower is complete. I'm just going to add my embellishment quickly on the center. That way it has a chance to dry before I need to move it around. Otherwise I could wait until the very end to add the embellishment, but the glue's already on. Now I need to position all of my pieces. I'm going to start with the high that goes in the center. To put this on, I am going to use some of my craft tape and just kind of use that as a guide on the back. This is not going to supplement my glue at all, but it will keep all of the parts together because this is actually 3 pieces. It has this negative space area here, but that's 2 parts, and then the main area. So I'm going to put those right into the sections that they belong. It's kind of like a little mini puzzle. And then flip it over and use some craft tape just to hold the pieces together. Then to add it on so it's a little more secure, I will add some liquid glue and put it right on my dark purple card base. I just love using glitter paper. I think that it just gives such a shine to projects. Next, I'm going to add the large flowers. There's 4 flowers and they go on the corners of the card front. So I'm just going to put the glue right on the project, which goes against my kindergarten heart. If you didn't know, I teach kindergarten, but I always tell the kids to put the glue on the smaller piece, which in this case would be the flowers, but there's no rules in the craft room. Next, I'm going to add on these, which I call leaves. And this I thought was kind of a fun color combination. It kind of reminded me of like a mermaid look, which was just kind of neat. Now that I have the leaves all on, I'm going to add the medium-sized flowers next. Those go at the top and the bottom of the project. For these, I will add the glue right to the flower just to show you another way of adding it on. It's really not a big deal. The only thing about doing it this way is sometimes I drop my pieces and then it gets glue all over, so sometimes I am just a little more cautious. Now for the 2 pieces that are in the center on the right and the left, I'm going to use these 2 sparkly flowers. One here and one here. Then the rest of the flowers will go on any of these little areas that have either a hole like this or just a gap that looks like it needs to be filled with something. This is just such a darling card, and it's definitely a little more work than a regular handmade card just because of all the stitching and die cutting and placement, but it really does have a wow factor to it. Now, if you're interested in becoming a Stitching Club member and you aren't right now, you will need to wait until the 6th of the month to sign up. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check out the link in my description. of this video, and you will be able to sign up for that on the 6th of the month. If you're already an existing club member, you can go ahead and add this to your membership right now since it's the 1st of the month. And also remember that if you wait too long, you won't be able to get this one at all because some of the club items after the 27th are gone forever. So if you're interested, make sure that you jump on the chance while you have it. Now this card was my extra one that I told you about in the beginning. I wanted to mix and match an old die that I had in my stash. This was a Christmas stitch die. It was actually a border one. And I took the border and die cut it out twice on this one piece and then stitched with 3 different color threads and added a gem on the apex of each area. I love blue and white. I think that that is a really pretty combination, and it just really pops on the card. I love using dies that I already have in my stash just for some fun and using what I have, but also pairing it with new things because the Spellbinders dies are really versatile and they kind of go together. They have the same kind of style, but they're still new and different each month, which I just love. Now that that's on, I will just add my circle next, and I'm going to use the high, which is part of this stitched die. I think I will pop this up with some foam squares just to make sure that it is not going to sag down on the bottoms. Really didn't need to use much. I'm just going to use 2 little guys. And I'm going to try to line that up in the channel of right here because the stitching is a little more bulky. We'll see if I can do this. Okay, so they're kind of lined up there, and then I'm going to flip it over and then position it going this direction. Yes, I know I'm covering up some of my stitching, which is sad and whatnot, but it's going to be fine. I have my 3 gems here that I don't want to lose. I'm going to do the same thing with the high with the tape on the back and gluing it on with the liquid glue. Be sure to check out the rest of the stitched dies that Spellbinders has on their website. You can also check out my channel. I have a whole playlist called Stitching on Cards. There's over 50 videos on there, so there's something that will inspire you, I'm sure. Also check out the new club items that Spellbinders has for August. They really knocked it out of the park with this month's collections. I know that the breezy swing is going to be a huge hit, as well as the glimmer. It is just gorgeous this month. Now, as I put on this little stitched flower that I created, I'll talk to you about how I made it. So this was an older stitching die again. It was actually one piece that looks like this. So it was the 3 pieces there. I stitched 2 sides of that, and then I just took a little bit of thread and stitched them together in the center. And this gave me this little unique shaped flower that I thought would be a nice pairing for this card on the sides. So you can see the back of my stitching is rather crazy, but no one will know once it's on my card. Then to just jazz it up even more, I'm going to put 3 pretty large sized gems in the center to cover up that little area that I connected both sides of the flower together. This will just kind of cover it up and also give the flower a little bit of interest with the center. Like that. Ooh, that is a pretty card. It's very striking with the stitching, the glitter, and the gems. And I do like that these gems on the back are just kind of peeking out behind everything. It just is a little mystery. Anyway, I hope you've liked today's cards. If you're interested, I will have everything linked in the description as well as the additional dies for this card. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Oh, a little side note. Usually on the first of the month, I release my stitching cards, the Stitch Club cards, and I do an unboxing, and I do 8 cards with my card kit of the month that comes out for Spellbinders. But as of now, I have not received it when I am filming this. So if it's on my channel, hooray! That means I got it in time to film some videos for you. If not, it will be on my channel this month. I'm just not sure what day or when, but I am sure that whenever it does come, I will have some lovely cards to show you. So if you're looking for that on my channel, just stay tuned, or it may be on now. Either way, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.